So today we're going to be talking about another class for creating in D&D. So this is going to be a quick run through of a class that you can use for your own research if you are new to creating a character, or if you need just a little bit of insight on walking through the steps. I do recommend D&D Beyond. It's a good way to kind of run through everything and see everything laid out in front of you. If you click on things, it'll usually pop up a little menu to show you what that thing is. So it's a good way to kind of create a character. So I'm going to kind of run through the process so you can kind of see creating a character firsthand, so you know what to do if you are at the table creating your character, right? So let's go with the Barbarian today. I've never played a Barbarian, but I've played with many Barbarians. I've DM'd Barbarians, and I have run games next to Barbarians. I'm currently playing in a D&D game right now with a Barbarian. I play the Bard Scholar kind of character on the podcast A Crack in the Plan. So if you are not a fan of that, check that out and see if that's something that you're interested in. So the first thing you're going to want to do as you create your character is pick your race. If you're going through optimization, there are certain classes that are going to be naturally better at it. Orc obviously comes to mind as being one of the basic ones that, just blends itself well to it. Goliath is another one that lends itself really well to it. Certain classes just blend well with it. I've seen a lot of human ones too. Human barbarians go well because they're good at everything. And if you're creating a barbarian that's maybe more well-rounded, as opposed to one that is like super doubling down on your constitution or your strength, there are some good things to kind of keep in mind there, right? So let's go with a half orc. Like I said, just goes really, really well with it. Barbarians are all about strength. They're all about constitution. So they're going to be ones that just pair well with it as they have those racial bonuses. Like I said, we're going to create a barbarian. So we're going to go click on that. Let's talk about the proficiencies and some of the things that you're going to be good at, right? So with being a barbarian, you're going to be thinking about, like, what things is my character going to be good in, right? What things will my character come to the table being good at, knowing how to do, and things like that, right? So animal handling, maybe your character is from a clan of barbarians that raise animals, right? Maybe your clan travels, and so riding animals and herding animals is something that they're really good at. So that might be good. Athletics is one that we're going to go with because athletics just makes a lot of sense. You're going to be the physical presence on the team, so being athletically inclined is going to be really, really helpful because you're probably going to be making a lot of athletics checks at the table, okay? Nature makes a lot of sense too because, again, barbarians just seem to be outdoorsy, so nature goes well. Perception's another really good one because as someone who is probably going to be at the front, or at least close to the front of, exploring and things, you want to be decent at perception, right? Your DM will be probably calling for you and maybe the rogue, if there's a rogue at the table, to make those perception checks as you're going down dark corridors or heading into the evil forest, things like that. Survival is another one that you have the option to choose because, and that one really goes well with it because, again, similar to, the animal handling and everything, your character is probably going to be very outdoorsy, right? Nature, survival, those things kind of go hand in hand, right? So let's go with perception because, like I said, in D&D, perception is going to be one that's going to be called a lot. There will be a lot of calls from the DM to roll perception. So having somebody that's good at perception just goes really, really well, okay? So you have rage. This is going to be your bread and butter. You can do this twice a day, and it's where you kind of go into this heightened battle state, and you can flavor it however you want. Maybe your character zones out and completely blacks out. Maybe your character becomes attuned with ancient spirits, or maybe there's more of a magical tie to it. There's a lot of different ways to flavor it. Unarmored defense, your character is not going to be wearing, big armor pieces. You're going to be mostly wearing leather and skin and hide armor and stuff like that. So you can't be wearing armor to get this benefit. And so you're going to really want to think about your dex, as it says here. You want that to be good, and your constitution. So lots of times those two are two of the stats that you usually have really, really high, right? Strength isn't going to factor into this. That's going to be more your damage. But for Barbarian, con is either 1 or 2. Depends on what type of build you're going with. Some people, it's strength first, they want to be damage dealers first, but if you're going to be the tank, con is going to be what you want to go with first. So let's go on to the next one. Here's where we're going to go and create our character. I'm going to go with standard array because I like standard array because it balances everybody at the table. If you want more of a random effect to your table, your DM might say roll for it. But since I'm trying to, for the sake of brevity, we're going to just go standard array to kind of build it out that way. So con and strength are going to be your 1 and 2. Those are easily reversible. But with the modifiers that I have here as a half-orc, I like the idea of going strength for a second, and then having con being my number 1. And you can see here they balance out 16 apiece. So I like that, right? Having a good con, having good strength, okay? Dex might be your second one. Wisdom, I think I'm going to go with here because, like I said, nature, survival are going to be common roles for someone like this. So let's go with that. Dex is going to be my next one. And then for a Barbarian, there's the old cliche that they're not very smart, they're not very intelligent. I'm going to go with the 10 here, and then Charisma be my 8, because I'm going to see this character as being less talkative, but they're not dumb. They're still someone that knows the basics of nature, and they know things, how to track and things like that. So I don't see this as being a dumb person, but charismatic is not going to be their bag. They're not going to be super charismatic here. All right, now you're with your background. You have acolyte, criminal, or spy, folk hero, haunted one, noble, sage, or soldier. Those are the ones you can kind of choose from here. Folk hero is cool if maybe your character comes from some notoriety with their clan, right? Maybe your character has done some pretty impressive stuff in their background, right? Soldier just kind of makes sense, right? Because your character wasn't a soldier in the sense of training and everything, but they were a fighter in their clan, right? For the skill proficiencies that go with that, stealth, sleight of hand, investigation, things like that. We're going to go with acrobatics here because, like I said, this is going to be the physical presence on the team. You might not have a fighter, you might not have other melee people, so having acrobatics could be helpful, right? Let's see. Like I said, I see this character being good at, knowing what's around them. So let's go with either nature, survival. I'm thinking survival here. Having that background would be something that's kind of cool. Gaming, I see this being, more of a dice thrower, not being the strategist, right? Let's go with equipment. Very often people go with the big weapon as this character, so we could go with that. And then I like having 2 hand axes. I like his character, having, access to a couple of hand axes as that, right? A dagger makes a lot of sense. A broken blade could be cool for some lore, for some backstory on your character. So I kind of like that. I think I'm gonna go with that, right? Something, excuse me, sorry, I gotta tickle my throat. So I kind of like the idea of having a broken blade. That just kind of makes for some cool baked in backstory for him, right? And then as a dice player, let's go with having a set of bone dice, right? So you add those and boom, all those things are added to your inventory. Now we're going to take a look at our character sheet, and I'll kind of walk you through these different things. What are the things that your character is going to be good at? Okay. So our dex isn't super, super high, but acrobatics is going to be one that we're pretty decent at because we are going to be probably, maybe we're the one that has to jump the cavern to get across, right? Or maybe we're the one that has to climb something to get up high. Maybe we're the one that has to make a jump across something, right? Or maybe there's something to dodge, right? As someone who's probably going to be closer to the front of the fight or exploring, that one is going to be good, right? Animal handling we're not great at, but we're not terrible at. Athletics, similar to the acrobatics. You want to be someone that's going to be at the front, so making those jumps or swimming or, maybe saving somebody. We might have to make athletics checks, right? Perception, because we're pretty decent at wisdom and we chose the proficiency in it. You can see the little dot here. We're not bad at it. We get that proficiency bonus, that +2 to it. And then survival, we're pretty good at survival because we chose to be proficient in it, and like I said, it just kind of makes sense for our character to be a little bit more grounded in nature and stuff like that. So with this, it's going to be, tracking, guiding our team through things. The rogue might be really good at getting us through the city undetected, but the barbarian seems to be the one that would probably be making those rolls to get us through a forest, an abandoned, area like a swamp or something. So survival would be cool for this one. So, your rogues and other characters might not really have that stat, so having this one, I think, really benefit a team. Okay. Going over to inventory, I'm going to equip my great axe, so you can see here what I would roll. I have a +5 to hit. I had to do a d12 damage and +3 to it because of my strength. My strength is 16. So the way that works is you have 10 as your base. Every 2 above it, you get another +1. So 12, 14, 16. So that's 3 above it. So that'd be +3. Okay. So that'll pretty much do it here for the Barbarian. Pretty straightforward class. It's going to be all about being a tank, being in the middle of the fight. When I'm not in the middle of the fight, I'm going to be the one helping my team get through the nature, getting through the wilderness when it's that person's time to shine. I think this Barbarian will do well on any team that has a need for that. Okay? All right. See you guys.